Welcome, mathematicians, to another exciting episode of Math Notes. I am your host, Mr. Pratt, and today we are solving systems of equations by substitution. So, as review, last week we solved systems, two or more equations with two or more variables at the same time through elimination, where we took one of the variables, maybe x, maybe y, maybe a, and we canceled them out. We gave them the same coefficients or the opposite coefficients, additive inverses, so they would cancel. Well, by substitution, things are a little different. With substitution, instead of canceling the x's or canceling the y's, we're going to substitute the x for another y. Then our equation only has y's. And you might be thinking, Mr. Pratt, how in the world can that happen? Well, let me show you. Substitution is an excellent topic which we'll continue to use for years in math. So let's get started. Here are the steps to solve with substitution. This is a pretty advanced algebra concept. We're at the end of the year, guys. So we have some, complex steps. We'll go through the steps and then we'll do several together and then you'll try them without me. So step one, please fill in on your notes. You're going to take one of the two equations and you're going to solve for one variable. So solve one equation for one variable. I recommend pick the easy one, whichever one is easier to solve. Now, substitute the equation from step one, because you solved it, you got y equals this thing. Substitute that expression into the other equation. Solve for the remaining value, and you've got one part of your answer. Now we use the new value from step 3 to find the other variable's value, and we write our answer as an ordered pair. You might be thinking, Mr. Pratt, that sounds complicated. Well, it's not so bad once we do a couple. So let's take a look at example 1. Here's example 1 from your notes. Step 1, I believe, is even written for you. So let's do step 1 together. Isolate a variable. Solve one of the equations for a variable. Well, check it out. Step 1, equation A already has y isolated. Y equals. Fantastic. So step 1 is done. Step 2 is to substitute this expression into the other equation. Now, the first time you see this, it looks a little complicated. You're like, Pratt, what are you doing? So I've rewritten the equation B. But instead of y, we're going to take out y because we know y is 2x minus 1. So we've got that here in purple. So we've substituted 2x minus 1 for y. And you'll notice that now we have only one variable. We don't have x's and y's. We've been in algebra all year. We can definitely solve an equation with just one variable. So there's step 2, substitute it into the other equation. Step 3 will be to solve that equation. We've studied solving extensively. I'm going to put my steps here for step 3. Maybe pause the video here and write them down, but I'll talk you through them. 3x and 4x combine like terms to make 7x. Then I see 7x minus 2 is 26. Let's add 2 to both sides. The 2's cancel, and 7x is 28. Divide both sides by 7, and x is 4. This gives us one of the coordinates. We've solved for x. The thing about systems is there's an x and a y. Once we have x, we can go back and solve for y. So step 4, substitute the result from into one of the original equations. So x is 4, I wrote equation A, but instead of x, now we have 4, just from right up here. So 2 times 4 is 8 minus 1 is going to be 7. So step 5, solve the other one, y is 7. Step 6, write it as an ordered pair. We have our x, we have our y. There it is. The correct answer is 4, 7. And ladies and gentlemen, you just completed with me solving systems with substitution problem. Some of the most advanced algebra we do. Great job. Now, let's do another one. So example 2 looks like this. These maybe look a little more complicated. No problem. Fill in with me as we go. Step 1, solve for one of the variables. So we're going to pick an equation and solve for one of them. I'm going to go ahead and solve equation A because y has a coefficient of positive 1 already. So all I have to do is move this 4x to the other side, and then y is alone, y is isolated. So we can't just move things in algebra willy-nilly. We have to follow the rules. So to move negative 4x, we add 4x to both sides. That gives us y is 6 plus 4x. Okay, so you're with me so far. We've got y isolated. Step 2, substitute this expression into the other equation, like we did last time. This is where it looks confusing for a second because it's long. But I rewrote equation B, and where you see y, what are we going to put there? We're going to put the expression that we know y is. Y is 6 plus 4x. So let's take out y and substitute 6 plus 4x. Great. Now we just have one variable. So let's solve that new one. We're going to combine our like terms. Negative 5x and negative 4x is negative 9x. Minus 6 is 21. Add 6 to both sides is negative 9x is 27. We divide by negative 9, and x is negative 3. Fantastic. We have x. But Mr. Pratt, we still need y. Yes, we do. So let's continue. Substitute our value here into one of the original equations. So I have rewritten this equation we got from step 1, 6 plus 4x, but I've taken out x and I've put in negative 3. And we can do some quick mental math. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. 6 plus negative 12 is negative 6. Ladies and gentlemen, we have y as negative 6. We have x as negative 3. We write it as an ordered pair. Bada boom, bada bing, bada bang. We are finished. Great job. Okay, for example C, I'm going to ask that you try this one on your own. Pause the video. Try it on your own exactly the same way we did the last two. And then check your work by what I will do here in a moment. So here's example C. It looks very similar to the last problem we did. In fact, the numbers are even simpler. Let's pause the video here. Go ahead and solve on your own and then come back and check. So. Let them stay there. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So let's see if you solve the problem the same way I did. Here's my 5 steps. Step 1, we solved equation 2. Solve equation 2 for y. So I moved the x over. You should have got y is x plus 3. I guess you could have solved the other one, but you'll get the same answer. Substitute y is x plus 3. So I rewrote the first equation, which is right here, but I put in x plus 3. Now I just have one variable. Solve that variable for x. I got x is 1. Plug that back into the equation that we had before. And if x is 1, then y must be 1 plus 3, so y is 4. Here's the ordered pair I got. Ladies and gentlemen, if you made a mistake, no problem. Go back, find that mistake, and see if you can work out to get the same problem I did here. You guys have been doing great. I recommend, if you need to, go and watch some other YouTube videos of teachers solving by substitution. Everybody does it the same way. Use whatever resources you need to continue practicing, to wrap your mind around this stuff. This is not elementary school math or middle school math. This math takes some work, but once you get it, it is a real victory. And we're going to continue to use this stuff for years going forward in math. So great job. Thank you for watching. You've got a 5-question assignment. Crush it. It's not too bad. You guys can do this. And remember, you're amazing just the way you are. And there's no one like you.